Good morning. Welcome to First Baptist Church. If you'd like to stand and sing with us, we're going to sing about the reckless love of God in just a minute or 30 seconds. Hey, we're, busy chatting with people, right? We know how that rolls.
We're all family and friends, right?
Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. You've been so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. You've been so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves a 99. And I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. When I was your foe, still your love fought for me. You've been so good to me. When I felt no worth, you paid it all for me. You've been so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. And I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God,
There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, never looks away. It's the gentle hand that pulls you from the judgment of the crowd. When you stand before them guilty and you got no way out. Some may call it foolish and impossible, but for every heart it rescues, it's a miracle. It's nothing less than scandalous, this love that took our place. Just call it what it is, call it grace.
Please stand if you're able and sing with us.
Call it grace. It's the breath that's breathing new life into what we thought was dead. It's the favor that takes orphans, placing crowns upon their heads. It's the hope for our tomorrow, the rock on which we stand. It's a strong and mighty fortress, even hell can stand against. Some may call it foolish and impossible, but for every heart it rescues, it's a miracle. It's nothing less than scandalous, this love that took our place. Just call it what it is, call it grace. Call it grace. Amazing, unshaking, call it grace. This is grace, unchanging, unfailing. This is grace. This is grace. Some may call it foolish and impossible, but for every heart it rescues, it's a miracle. It's nothing less than scandalous that Jesus took our place. Oh, call it what it is. Just call it what it is. Call it grace. Call it grace. Call it grace. This next song, Alex insisted that we sing it this week, and I have no problem with the song. I just want to give you guys some scope. Sometimes it's easy to look at the problems, and you see all these big problems, and you want to fix them. You want to make things better, and you can't make some grandiose thing that fixes everything. And sometimes it's hard to look at the small problems and go, I'll fix that. But if you fix a bunch of them, you can change a bigger problem. That's what this song is about. This is called Dream Small. It's a mama singing songs about the Lord. It's her daddy spending family time the world says he cannot afford. These simple moments change the world. It's a pastor at a tiny little church, 40 years of loving on the broken and the hurt. These simple moments change the world. So dream small, don't buy the lie, you gotta do it all. Just let Jesus use you where you are, one day at a time. Live well, loving God and others as yourself. Find little ways where only you can help. With His great love, a tiny rock can fall. So dream small. It's visiting the widow down the church, or dancing on a Friday with your friend with special needs. 'Cause these simple moments change the world. Of course there's nothing wrong with bigger dreams. Just don't miss the minutes on your way to bigger things. 'Cause these simple moments change the world. So dream small, don't buy the lie, you gotta do it all. Just let Jesus use you where you are, one day at a time. Live well, living God and others as yourself. Find little ways where only you can help. With His great love, a tiny rock can make a giant fall. So dream small. Keep loving, keep serving, keep listening, keep learning, keep praying, keep hoping, keep seeking, keep searching. Out of the small things and watch them grow bigger. The God who does all things makes oceans from rivers. So dream small, don't buy the lie, you gotta do it all. Just let Jesus use you where you are, one day at a time. Live well, loving God and others as yourself. Find little ways where only you can help. With His great love, a tiny rock can make a giant fall. Yeah, 5 loaves and 2 fish can feed them all. So dream small. Dream small. Dream small.
This is our last message in the Why series, and today wanted to give some argument for why God exists, why I believe, and why Jesus is important, why Jesus is kind of unique, and why that He's the one that helps us to know God and connect to God. And today I wanted to start with just a passage from John 14, 4-7. It says, Jesus says, "You know the way to the place where I'm going." And Thomas said to Him, "Lord, we don't know where you are going, so how can we know the way?" Jesus answered, "I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. If you really know me, you will know my Father as well. From now on, you do know Him and have seen Him." And I know for a lot of people, this is kind of a troubling passage because it sounds like Jesus is saying, there's only one way, one road to God, and I'm going to show you the way. And as long as you stay on the road that I'm going to show you, then you'll get to God. Sometimes that's what we hear Jesus say because that's what we expect Him to say. Because that's what religion does. It gives us a path to achieve our ultimate end, heaven or nirvana, paradise, whatever it is. And some people, and this passage is troubling because some people would like to believe that there are many roads that may lead to God. Sometimes people object to this passage because they would like to believe, that none of those roads lead to God because they don't believe that God even exists. And some people may believe that those roads may be worth taking because they can make you a better person, or that there are some mountains you can climb that might elevate you or elevate people around you and help you to grow as a person. But at the end of the road, they're not expecting God or anyone to be there because they don't believe that there is a God. Have you ever thought, what if? What if after I live my life and I'm going to church and I'm believing in God and trusting in God, what if at the end of the road I find out that no one's there? Have you ever had those moments where you're just like, what if I'm wrong? Do you know what that makes you if you've had moments like that? Normal. That's right. Perfectly normal. Because we all have those moments where we're like, man, what if? Well, for a while now, I've realized that some people who don't believe there is a God have come to that conclusion because they think that in order to believe in God, that you have to be stupid. You have to give up critical thinking. And I saw a comedian the other day on Instagram, and she was talking about her experience in church growing up and how her church was obviously a very judgmental place. But she said, there was the list of sins murder was maybe like the 5th worst sin she talked about, according to her church. And then the top of the list was the worst possible sin you could do was critical thinking. Because her church obviously didn't want you to think. They wanted you just to follow like sheep. And I will never tell you, don't think. I will always tell you, think about I want you to have a rational, reasonable reason for what you believe and think. Yes. Often, a lot of times certainty is the thing that is an enemy. When you are just sure about everything, that means you're not thinking. Well, and sometimes Christians, we have this magical way of thinking about our faith, and it's more a superstition sometimes, the way we think about things, than it is of faith, and it seems so disconnected from reality. It's just like we are not aware of the world around us and what's going on and how things work. And we often, as Christians, we use cliches to talk about God. And often those cliches express more what we wish was true about God rather than what is true. Things like, Christians, we say things like, God never gives us more than we can handle, right? We say things like that because we wish that was true. And I don't know what God gives us. God gives us good things. But life sometimes gives us more than we can handle. It does. But we don't have to handle things alone. We handle things with God with us. And so there's nothing God can't handle. We say things like, when God closes a door, he opens a window. Maybe. Sometimes he does. What if God's just saying, no, I'm closing this door. You need to go back. Go a different way. It doesn't always open a window. Sometimes the doors just get closed. And maybe God's not the one closing the doors. Or we say things like, everything happens for a reason. Because that's what we'd like to believe is true, right? We'd like to believe that everything happens for a reason, but when an 8-year-old little girl gets molested by the person who's supposed to protect her, there's no reason for that. We know that God, even in situations like that, is working for good things that come out of it, but it's not a reason. And so we say things like that, and people will think, really? That's what you think? And it's no wonder that they think you have to abandon critical thinking in order to be a follower of Jesus. But it shows a lack of depth in our thinking when we just say things like that. And sometimes we all have moments where we don't think about what we say, right? But people often think that you have to be stupid to believe in God. And if you're smart, you don't believe in God. And so we see people like scientists on TV who don't believe in God, and we think, well, see, the smart people, they don't believe. And Christians, but the fact is there are plenty of scientists, smart people who do believe. We just maybe aren't as aware of them. Christians and atheists often believe that, science and faith are at war. Because for some reason, we've gotten the idea that science and faith are incompatible things, and you have to choose a side. You have to believe in science, or you have to believe in faith, in God. So you have, at the most extreme end of this kind of debate, you have people who don't believe in dinosaurs, or they think the earth is flat, because that's how there's no dinosaurs in the Bible. And they read in the Bible things that make them believe that the Bible thinks the earth is flat, which I don't know about that. But and so they reject anything that science says to the contrary. And that's an extreme example. The most common dividing line for more reasonable people is often, that creationism, that God created the world, or the science view, the Big Bang. And they think that a lot of Christians think that those two ideas are incompatible. But, in the creation story in the Bible, the sun is created on day 4. I don't know if you knew that or not, but it's created on day 4. And the sun is the thing, right, that helps us to know when the day ends and the next day starts. 24 hours. And so is it possible that a day in the creation story isn't necessarily 24 hours? Could the earth be, a lot of people, there are Christians who are going through the Bible and they're adding up the numbers. They look at the 7 days of creation, so that's 7 days, 7 24-hour days, and then they start adding up numbers and genealogies and that kind of thing, and they come up with a number for how old the earth is. Like, I don't know, I've heard like 13,000 some years old. And the scientific view is, billions of years old. So those two ideas are very different. And there are smart people, scientists on both sides of that issue. But is it really a big deal? Is it possible that a day could be more than 24 hours? Is it possible that the earth could be old and the Bible could still be true? I think it's possible. I don't think that science and religion have to be, in opposition to each other. Because science and religion have a common goal, right? They're both searching for the truth. That's all. We're in our faith, we're searching for the truth, and in more than that, we're searching for a purpose for our lives. And we think about how much faith does it take to believe in the scientific view of things? Both science and faith, at least a lot of scientists, believe that the Big Bang, it all started with nothing. There was just empty space. And if that view is correct, how long, you think about nothing becoming something. And how long was nothing out there doing nothing? And then what? Did one day nothing say, I should do something? And one day nothing decided, I'm gonna become everything. And nothing became everything and got it right on the first try. Amazing. And bang, the world is created, the universe is created. What takes more faith to believe that there was an intelligent creator who created things, or that nothing suddenly one day became everything? I think both of those things take faith, different kinds of faith. I think there's a lot of things we can look at in the universe and have reason to believe in God. Romans 1:20 says, "For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that people are without excuse." I think about like the precision and the design in the universe. You know, there's lots of things we could point to, but just to give you a couple, like gravity. If gravity was a little less powerful or a little more powerful, things would not hold together. It wouldn't work. So there's just had to be just perfect. We think about things like on Earth, there's this total solar eclipse that happens, 4 or 5 times a year, and the moon is the perfect size and distance so that when it's a total solar eclipse, it perfectly covers the sun, and just the corona of the sun shows through. And it only happens on the one planet where there's someone to notice it. It could happen anywhere, or not happen everywhere, but it happens here. The chances are way better other places. On Jupiter, Jupiter has 95 moons. Saturn has 146 moons. It has 146 chances to get it right, but no, it doesn't. On Saturn, there is one moon that comes close, but it's shaped like a potato chip rather than a circle, and so it doesn't quite work, right? It works in the one place where there's people to notice it. Some people look at some people who don't want to believe or don't believe, they look at the Bible and they say, there's inconsistencies, there's contradictions in the Bible. And, some Christians want to say, no, there's not. There's no contradictions. There's no inconsistencies. Everything is perfect. And, I don't really think that's totally honest. I know you can make an argument for how, you can make excuses for how things are consistent or they're not a contradiction. But, the Bible is not a science book. It's not a math book. It's not even a history book, although there are historical elements in the story. The purpose of the Bible is not to do any of those things. The purpose is to tell us about this relationship between God and humans. And in this relationship, we learn some things about God, and we learn a lot about who we should be and who we are. The Bible's a faith book. It's written so that we can believe. And Christians, sometimes we're not very honest about the Bible. And I will never lie to you about our faith, about what we believe, because it's more palatable, or because it's an easier answer, or because that's the way we traditionally think about things. I want to be honest and tell you the truth about things. So yeah, sometimes there's things that seem like inconsistencies or contradictions, even in important areas, like the story of the resurrection. You'd think like the resurrection, that's like a huge deal, right? It's an important event. And if we compare the accounts in Matthew and John, the order of the events is different. When Mary went to tell the disciples, did she know that Jesus was risen, or just that his body was missing? Who was there when it was first discovered? There are differences in the details. Do those differences bother me? Not in the least. But let's be honest, they are there. Just to tell the truth, they're there. And why doesn't it bother me? Because if we watch a crime TV show, even like some of the documentary type ones, the people are involved in this crime. There's several people maybe involved, and they get them in the police station, and they take them to separate interrogation rooms, and they're asking them questions and stuff, and they're telling their story about what happened. And that when those two people in different rooms tell the exact same story, and they use the same like words and phrases to tell the story, and it's perfectly close. You know what? They're lying, right? Because they've been practicing their story. And so the idea that they're different, that's just how eyewitness accounts are. And sometimes people are telling more than just what happened in the physical realm. They're telling you a deeper truth. And so they may express that in a different way so that they can tell you a more important truth that's underlying what we see with our eyes. And then, you have these people's lives. How they lived their lives, the disciples of Jesus. The 11 who were left after he rose, 10 of those guys are martyred. They're killed for their faith. And Chuck Colson, who was involved in the Watergate scandal, he was President Nixon's hatchet man. He was on his inner circle. He talks about how when the Watergate scandal started to come out and a little pressure was applied to those 12 people closest to the president, how it took 2 weeks for these powerful, educated men to give up the lie that they were keeping to protect the president. 2 weeks, and they abandoned their story. But the disciples, decades later, didn't change their story, even when it cost them their lives. And you don't give your life for a lie. You only do that for the truth. And I have this need to tell you the truth. I hate cliches. And so there are times when, I want to tell you everything's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Everything's going to be okay. But it's so hard for me because I don't know what's going to happen sometimes. I don't know what God is going to do. I know what God can do, but what will God do? And with all my heart, I believe and have faith that God is going to be with you. I can't always say, everything's going to turn out the way you want it to. Even though I do believe that God is working and that in the end, ultimately, even if it's not quite the way you wanted it to be, that everything will be okay. And I think about the things that could go wrong, the things that might be a challenge for my faith. And I'm sure you are the same way. I can imagine some horrible things that could happen, things that would crush me. But I can't imagine anything that would make me not believe. Things may happen. I may learn something where I have to change the way I think about some things that I believe. I'm open to having new ideas. I may come to understand that I was wrong about some things and need to change my mind, but I've met Jesus, and I know he's real. And I've met Jesus at the worst times of my life and known that he is there and that he loves me. And so I can't imagine anything that would change my mind about that because I've had that encounter with him. In life, we all have questions. And, there are how many people in the world now? 8, 9 billion people. There may be 8 or 9 billion different answers or opinions, but we all have the same questions. And the big one is why, right? We all want to know why. And why does why matter if there's no God? Seems like why only matters if there's a God. And why will haunt you because you are designed for meaning. We spend our whole life searching for meaning, trying to make sense of our life. And life doesn't give you meaning. You give meaning to life. And so there's something in us that wants to know God, that wants to make sense of our life. Something in us that is always like searching, trying to make sense of who we are. And I think that a lot of times for me, the proof of God is not, something in the universe. It's something inside me. It's that sense that we have when we know that we're living beneath the intention for our life. When we know we're not quite who we ought to be, that voice inside of us, like our conscience or whatever it is, voice of God inside of us telling us that we can be more. Why would that be there? Except that there's a God who wants us to have the kind of life that we can have. In 2 Corinthians 13, is the passage that we read at weddings a lot of times, where it talks about these things will pass away, these things won't be forever, but there are certain things that are forever: faith, hope, and love. And faith, hope, and love are the proof of God. Those are the things that don't make sense apart from God. And those are the things that our soul is always talking to us about. Why do faith, hope, and love remain? Because they're part of who we are designed to be. Faith is that thing inside of us that is always searching for meaning in our life, always trying to give us meaning and direction. Hope is that thing that keeps us growing. It's the progress it's the idea that we can be better, that the future can be better. And there's lots of kinds of different kinds of depression. Some are more biological things, but maybe part of depression is just our soul telling us that we can be more, that we can be better, and knowing that we're struggling with that. Faith, hope, and love. Some people, some in the science world have given us the idea that, that there's no free will, that everything that happens is just a mathematical problem, that if you knew all the variables, that you could predict everything that's going to happen. And so you are driving in your car and you, at the last minute, change your mind and you decide to turn left instead of turning right. That idea kind of is saying that, you are always going to turn left. That wasn't a choice. It was just the mathematical outcome of your life. I don't know about you, but I have a hard time living with that idea. I'm very much hoping it's not true. I feel like I have free will, and if I don't have free will, that would be a thing. That would be something that would make me really hopeless. And I think that free will is the source of most of our problems, right? Most of our problems are because people do terrible things. They choose to do terrible things. And so free will is the source of a lot of our problems, and the things that trouble us and the things that happen to us that are negative. It's because somebody, maybe we, bad choice. So I hate the idea that every decision we make is just a mathematical, unavoidable outcome. I know we won't spend our life searching for math, right? But we will spend our life searching for love and for meaning. And I think about that last, the things that will remain, love. And love is the thing that makes no sense, right? Love is the thing that makes you do really stupid stuff. right? Love is the thing that makes you sacrifice for someone else. It's not about yourself. It's about from an evolutionary standpoint, love makes no sense. You think it would be, if it was an evolutionary sort of thing, that it would have been bred out of us by now, but love remains. So to me, that's the proof of God. Every day your soul says, you're not there yet. That's your soul letting you know that you, and the voice inside is the proof of God. And your soul tells you that you need faith and hope and love. It's the proof of God. So if God is real, why Jesus? Took me a while, right? Why Jesus? Let's go back to John 14. Jesus answered, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. If you really know me, you will know my Father as well. From now on, you do know him and have seen him. You know, religion is all about getting you to do the right kind of behavior. It's all often about using guilt and shame and fear to manipulate you to do what they want you to do, the right kind of behavior. And are it's the same? If you asked a Muslim and said, well, Hinduism is the same, if you told them Hinduism is the same as Islam, they did. Or vice versa. If you told a Hindu that Islam was the same as theirs, they would be offended. Some religions, like a Mayan religion, where they would do living sacrifices, that might be on the negative side of religions. Religions are all different from each other. And faith in Jesus is different than religion. Faith in Jesus does not come to tell us how to get to God. Jesus came to show us what God would do to get to us. It's not about us finding the right path. It's about finding us. In Christianity, following Jesus, there's no other faith like that. So is Jesus the only way to God? Is that what Jesus is saying? Jesus is saying, I'm coming to find you. I think when Jesus tells us, I'm the way, the truth, the life, no one comes to the Father but through me, I think what he's saying is, no one else is coming for you. Because I'm all there is. I'm all there is. The good news is, we know how Jesus responds to us and loves us. We know that Jesus would go down any road to find you. Most roads don't leave any. Jesus would go down any road to find you. And Jesus walked among us not simply so that we could see the perfect image of God, but so that we could see the perfect expression of humanity. So that we could know when we're living beneath what we're intended to be. Maybe you thought you knew what your soul was searching for. Maybe you thought your soul was searching for love or for meaning. But what you were really searching for was God. Listen to your soul. That thing in your soul that's searching for more. That, to me, is the proof of God. You were made for meaning. You're made to grow. You're made to love, to connect. It's the proof of God. So today maybe you still have questions, because I talked for a while, but I know that I cannot and have not answered all the questions you may have about God. I still have questions, but I believe. Maybe today is the day where you listen to your soul. and you just say, because Jesus will kick down any door, but he won't kick down the door to your heart. You have to open it to him and invite him into your life. So maybe today is the day where you just say, Jesus, I give you my life. I'm going to listen to what my soul is urging me to do. And if today you decide to cross that line, you begin a life of faith in Jesus, just come talk to me afterward. Let me know. Maybe today is the day you want to just say that you want to be baptized and just follow Jesus in that way, be obedient. Maybe the day is the day you want to join the church. We invite you to do that. Maybe today is the day where you just listen to your soul. Your soul is telling you that you're living beneath what God intended you to be and do. And you just need to surrender more of who you are to him and his love. So reflect on those things. If you want to pray, you're invited to come to the altar or pray in your seat. And if you need to talk to me, I'll be right over here. And I invite you to think about that as the band sings this closing song.
It's a mama singing songs about the Lord. It's a daddy spending family time the world says he cannot afford. These simple moments change the world. It's a pastor at a tiny little church. 40 years of loving on the broken and the hurt. These simple moments change the world. So dream small. Don't buy the lie, you gotta do it all. Just let Jesus use you where you are. One day at a time, live well. Loving God and others as yourself. Find little ways where only you can help. With this great love, a tiny rock can make a giant fall. So dream small. It's visiting the widow down the street, or dancing on a Friday with your friend with special needs. These simple moments change the world. Of course there's nothing wrong with bigger dreams. Just don't miss the moments on your way to bigger things. 'Cause these simple moments change the world. So dream small. Don't buy the lie, you gotta do it all. Just let Jesus use you where you are. One day at a time, live well. Loving God and others as yourself. Find little ways where only you can help. With his Dream small. Dream small. I want to thank all you guys for being here, for our friends and family. We love you. Don't forget, at the annex, we're going to have pizza and a meeting for Vision of the Church. We love you. I hope your week is awesome, and thank you for being here.